Yo, YouTube, what's good, everybody? GZTV back with another video, and in this video, we're going to be talking about the 8th episode of Season 3 of The Walking Dead, where kind of the war between the prison people and Woodbury people take place. So, yeah, pretty interesting episode for that storyline to kind of wrap up, and two of the worlds colliding head on, like, officially in this episode. We're going to go through the plot and the critical reception, and then I'm going to have a Dahmer review out. I don't think I'm going to get that done right now at this instant. The earliest I'll get it after now is probably like 3 o'clock. I'm not really sure, though. We'll have to see. Let's get into the plot. Rick, Michonne, Daryl, and Oscar head towards Woodbury to rescue Glenn and Maggie from the governor, obviously. They put a threat on their life to show them where their people is. They told them the Woodbury prison, and obviously the Woodbury group didn't take action in time because now the prison group is knocking on their door, and they don't even realize it. It's like a stealth mission this group's pulling off right now. While they are gone, a group of 5 survivors, siblings, Tyrese Williams, played by Chad L. Coleman. Yes, we get introduced to a whole new group, which is cool, but I feel like the more they do that, the more redundant the show is going to feel and the more repetitive, which is why I think I stopped watching it, because they introduced way too many groups. I mean, it's interesting, and yeah, you're going to meet survivors at some point, but this far into the apocalypse, I don't think there shouldn't be that many new people, let's be honest. And Joshua Williams is played by Soniqua Martin Green. And Alan's played by Daniel Thomas May. Donna's played by Cherry Dvorak. And their son Ben is played by Tyler Chase. They come across the prison while fleeing a horde of walkers and discover a breach in its fence, so they're able to get in. Which is bad news for the prison group because they're protecting themselves currently against these Woodbury people. And if the Woodbury people wanted to attack right now, they easily could. So that's kind of unfortunate. But the Woodbury people aren't even really considering it all that much. They're just kind of chilling, enjoying some festivities, Yeah. They make their way inside. Donna having been bitten by a walker, so we know she's going to die very early in this one. She's like the first one to get wiped out. There are a couple characters that die in this episode, and one of them I kind of expected at some point. He's a very minor character. We'll get into him. He's part of the prison group. It's one of the prisoners. You guys watched this episode, so I don't know why I keep holding back. Their cries for help are heard by Carl, who helps lead them to a safe area of the prison. And he locks them in this room and makes sure they're all good. They kind of do the same thing with Michonne and the prisoners. Anytime they meet new people, they want to make sure these people aren't dangerous and that they're safe at the same time. They want to be humane about this. Donna succumbs to the bite, and after a brief moment of silence, Tyrese smashes her head with a hammer to prevent her reanimating. Obviously, it's putting someone out of their misery in this environment to kind of smash their head like that. Do the head damage so they can't reanimate. That group learned the same thing as everyone else has learned. Except Woodbury. I feel like Woodbury's in the dark. They haven't had a lot of first-hand combat experience, so that's definitely interesting. Carl keeps the newcomers locked in a common area for safekeeping. Tyrese understands and accepts, At first, Sasha's kind of irate. She's like, let us out of here, but Tyrese is like, we get it. You don't really trust us. We kind of stumbled upon your place, your territory. And yeah, he's very understanding. He kind of looks like Morgan, almost, but I don't think he is. In Woodbury, Rick's group sneaks into a building wall at the same time, and Glenn and Maggie attempt to escape. So they're going to meet each other eventually in this episode. This is a really good episode. Some of the most gunfire in any Walking Dead episode. There was a lot of human v human combat here, which usually you'd want to go after walkers and not your own human for the civilization aspect. But nope. This is like a civil war right here. People fighting for the same thing, survival, and then they're meeting each other, have some disagreements, and fight each other. The governor orders Merle and his men to execute them, but as they approach, Maggie stabs one of the men with a sharpened bone, enabling them to slip by and get out of there. So yeah, one of the guards dies. Rick and the others launch their ambush, enabling them to bring Glenn and Maggie to safety. However, Michonne slips away on her own. Now, at first, when Michonne does this, the group doesn't really trust her because they feel like she's betraying them and going with the group and gonna sneak up and kill them or something. I don't know. They kind of assume the worst with a lot of people, which makes sense. It's pretty good judgment given their situation. But yeah, she goes off on her own as they cede to Glenn and Maggie while avoiding detection, Glenn reveals to Daryl that his brother Merle is here, and Daryl insists that they go find him. That he's like, please, let me go find my brother. I need to talk to him. I haven't seen him in a while. Very understandable. But he puts trust in Rick. He's like, look, I'll just stay with you guys because you guys are the real ones out there. Meanwhile, aware that their attackers include friends of Andrea, the governor gives his men shoot to kill orders and keeps Andrea away from the action by enforcing the town's curfew. So, Andrea has no idea it's the prison. It's her former group from the farm, and she's just kind of shooting at them aimlessly as well. And Merle's shooting at them aimlessly, not knowing that his brother Daryl is amongst them. He should probably know, but he doesn't really. Michonne makes her way into the governor's house and discovers a hidden room where he has kept the heads of many former allies, reanimated his walkers, and aquarium tanks, as well as the turned body of his daughter Penny, played by Kylie Szymanski. That's the first time I've really brought up who plays that character. She's a walker, so she doesn't really have any dialogue, but she's chained up. So Michonne discovers a lot of secrets about the governor. She has some good judgment before of not really trusting this weird guy that's in control of this town. And she was right. As she is studying the room, the governor arrives, and despite his pleas to not harm Penny, Michonne kills her. It's a walker. She doesn't want her to do any harm to anyone. And obviously the governor's in shambles because he doesn't understand that these walkers are literally just lifeless creatures that are reanimated. Like, they're machines, pretty much. Enraged, the two quickly engage in combat, so we have a Michonne v. Governor fight, which is pretty epic. After smashing the aquariums, Michonne uses a glass shard to stab the governor in the eye, but before she can kill him, Andrea arrives and stops Michonne, who turns and flees the building, and Andrea's like, wow, Michonne, I cannot believe you've done this. And Michonne gets out of there, so Andrea's just sitting in shock at all the shit she's looking at right now, a lot to process. Andrea races to help bring the governor to Dr. Stevens to treat his eye, because obviously that glass could have reached his brain and caused some damage. Rick's group prepares to fight their way out of Woodbury, using smoke bombs to cover their escape. Obviously, they've been doing that all along here while they're ambushing. Daryl stays back to cover the others, while Rick is momentarily confused by a man whom he mistakes to be his former ally, Shane Walsh. He kind of has these, hallucinations and these visions. I mean, the guilt's probably taken him over, oh my goodness, I killed this guy, but it's not Shane. Oscar is shot and killed as the others scale the Woodbury Wall, and Daryl is captured, so Daryl's put in jeopardy. A guy I knew was going to die sometime. Oscar is dead, and now the only prisoner we have left is Axel, which is interesting. I mean, he is the most, innocent man out of the group, I would say. I really liked Oscar, though. Yeah. Rick, Maggie, and Glenn regroup with Michonne, who's been waiting for them, and they question if she is still useful to them. She literally infiltrated the governor's place, so yes, she is very much. In the Woodbury arena, the governor addresses the town citizens, declaring that they were attacked by terrorists. So they're labeling the prison group as terrorists, even though behind closed doors, these people have no idea what the governor has been doing. He then accuses Merle of betraying the people of Woodbury and has his men drag Daryl into the arena as proof of Merle's complicity. The residents start chanting for their blood. They're like, fight to the death. Yeah, kill them, execute them. These people are barbaric. There's kids in the crowd saying, kill them. These people have no hearts anymore in the wake of an apocalypse. Stunned, Andrea stares at Daryl as the bloodthirsty townspeople cheer, and she's probably going to intervene, but I don't know, maybe not. The episode was reviewed positively by most critics, B+ on the AV Club, 9.3 out of 10 on IGN. This was another great episode for The Walking Dead and a strong end to this half of the season. In Season 3, The Walking Dead has turned into a show that is perhaps less grounded and realistic in the midst of its genre scenario than it once felt, but this is easily the most entertaining and exciting that it's been for a prolonged period. Strong episode overall, even if the addition of new characters was a bit much to pack into the hour. Very true, I agree. This episode is a great work of Glenn Mazzaro's crew, whose greatest feat for this season has been bringing the different stories of Woodbury and the prison together through the brothers Merle and Daryl finding each other in opposite sides of a war, a story as old as stories themselves, thus propelling the audience to an amazing climax to end of the first half of the season. There's definitely phases. The next half is going to be a lot different than this one. 308 dead or undead bodies shown in the 8 episodes aired of the show's 3rd season so far. It's one of the most violent shows on TV at the time. That was